Thank you so much for joining. Today's meeting is topic is for our contingencies. As a realtor, we should know the contingencies or conditions inside out for our buyers as they expect our opinion, right, on every property. So for home inspection and the bank appraisal contingencies, we'll go over those. I'll tell you what it is, if you need them or not, the cost of it, all the ins and outs of that, right? So we'll start with the home inspection, right? So first of all, a contingency, it means it's a condition that you're putting before we're moving forward. We want these things cleared, right? One of them happens to be home inspection, right? So we say that a person or buyer that's buying that property, right? This is their biggest purchase of their life, right? $500,000, $600,000, $1 million property. So and they're choosing you as a realtor for professional advice, right? So this is how I would do it, and hopefully we can all follow, right? We always want to give them the option to have the home inspection done, even if it's not going to be any negotiation, because the home inspection will give you a professional opinion, right, from a third party telling you what is wrong with the property, right? The person is going to live there for next 5, 10, 20, probably, maybe rest of his life there. So they want to know what's the problem with the house, they're about to purchase it. So a contingency, it's going to be a clause, it's a paragraph in the contract, right? Saying that either you have that contingency in there where you want to inspect your house, and if there's a home inspection contingency, then the buyer would have can go back and negotiate, hey, this is the problems we found, and now we want to bring the price down because these are the flaws, right? So let's go step by step. So what it is, it's a professional opinion, it's a third party opinion, right? You as a realtor trying to sell the house, for your buyer, but they're gonna hire someone from outside our agency and get a professional opinion on that, right? What will it cover? It will cover every aspect of the property, right? When was it built? Um, how's the structure, all the plumbing, all the electric for the property. They're inspecting for all the flaws. They're a home inspector, they're just looking for the flaws. Right? How much does it cost? It can cost as little as $250, or it can be high as 550 for a single family. That depends on the location, the building size, and where um, on the inspector itself. Some of them are on the lower end, some on the higher end, right? And who pays for this is the buyer, right? Because buyer is obviously investing a huge amount, $500,000 for a property, paying 550 even on the highest end is still worth it, you know. So let's say the deal doesn't, move forward and they cancel the deal, the buyer will not get this money back. Okay, they will not get their money back. Okay, and an inspection contingency now gives the buyer the right to have the home inspected after the offer is accepted, usually within few days. We would say that within the next 24 hours to 48 hours, we want to get the home inspection done, right? Because then it might take the home inspector to provide that report within another day or two, right? Usually the next day. Okay. So depending on the finding for the home inspection, the potential buyer can either negotiate the repairs, right? They can either go back and say, hey, we need to renegotiate, or they can just cancel the contract, right? Because the contingency is in there. No contingency means the buyer would move forward with the deal even if there are major issues with the property. They're buying as is. Okay. So when we say the home inspection, this is you're hiring someone, a professional licensed inspector. So so they're gonna give you a lot of pages. So this report has 46 of them, right? So what will it cover? Again, table of content here, right? It will cover the exterior, roofing, garage, structural, plumbing, electric, heating, basically everything for the property. Okay, for termite, lead paint. Okay, then it will give you uh, page by page. It will give you different details. Mhm. Right, and then while the inspector is at the property, he's going, he's usually starts from the basement and will move up, and will start taking pictures of different things, and on the report they'll lay that out there, right? Like this one says, hey, this is a one family CO and there's one gas meter, which is good. What for one family CO, there's one electric meter. Okay, and they'll go, room by room and just check everything outside, inside, right? So this report, send you guys a copy if you guys need it. Uh, Again, they're gonna pick out all the small stuff, the good, the bad, everything they want to put in the report for the property, and then they step back, they provide that report to the realtor and to the buyer, and the buyer will say either, hey, I'm fine with it, or I want to cancel my deal. So I just want to say, even if there's major issues like structurals, uh, the negotiation room should be there. If there's an appraisal contingency, if they find a lot of things like this person, right, all the flaws or the positive and the negatives, you do want to talk to your realtor about it just to see if you can negotiate, because that's our job, right? Because the buyer already paid. If nothing can be done, that's still fine. But at least the buyer itself, they know what the problems are. Maybe they will fix it on their own later on, right? After the closing. So the inspector's job is to find a lot of things. Our job is to see what's the major issues, and then try to keep it realistic. Uh, and we will talk about the market. So for just the home inspection now, right? There are many deals that go out without any home inspection contingencies. They say, hey, the realtor can say, hey, we will have a home inspection done for our sake, but we will not put it on the contract, and we will buy as is. And that's because of supply and demand. There's a lot of buyers out there, but not a lot of sellers. So because of that, one person that's putting in offer after offer after offer, they can't get the property. They'll eventually say, "Hey, I'm gonna buy this property. I like it so much. I seen enough, and I'm gonna tell them I don't need any home inspection on this." Okay. So as realtor, we always recommend that you tell your buyer, your client, that hey, let's do the home inspection for your own sake. If you really like the property, but because the way the market is, you wanna probably we can't go back and negotiate just because they have other offers that have no no home inspection contingency on it. Okay. So that's pretty much it for the home inspection contingency. So before I move to the bank appraisals, any questions on the home inspection contingencies? All right. Now the bank appraisal contingency, right? This is majority of the contract has that contingency in there, okay? And we always recommend having this there. This is for your client's sake. And that really depends on how much savings they have and stuff like that, which we'll go over. But bank appraisal contingency, it is a bank's opinion now. You have said that I'm purchasing this property for $500,000, right? And now the banks will do their research and say that, hey, fine, we think it is worth $500,000. Or they can say, hey, we think actually it's worth 520. Or they can say, no, it's worth 480. It can be exactly what you said, or it could be higher, or it could be lower. But that is their opinion, right? They're the one who's lending you the money. They're the one that are, tied in with you for 30 years, 30-year mortgage, right? So they want to make sure that the property you're buying, even that the realtor convinced you and said, hey, look at my comps, this property is worth $500,000, but we really think it's worth 480 or 470 or whatnot, right? So that is their opinion. That's what matters. Now, what will they cover, right? They're going to cover that particular property that you're trying to purchase, right? And they will do the comps for the last 3 months. Not like us realtors. Sometimes we go back 6 months, a year, hey, but they just want to do the last 3 months. They want to compare apples to apple. This property, they want to compare exactly within a mile of that property's radius, and just try to find how many properties were sold. What would the bedrooms, the bathrooms, everything has to match in order to use that for the property in most cases. Okay, so they're just more thorough with us because they're the one who's lending the money again, right? And how much does the bank appraisal cost? That costs about $500 to $700 for a single family, right? That's usually the bank loan officer will disclose that to you and say, hey, we're going to schedule a bank appraisal, and this is the amount, right? Different banks have different amounts. And who pays for this is the buyer. Buyer's paying for this. This paying in advance before closing and after the commitment is issued, right? After the commitment is issued, they schedule the bank appraisal, and the buyer has to pay this. Okay. So lenders always use the appraised value to calculate the LTV, right? Loan to value, right? Not the purchase price, right? So let's say the bank, we say that you purchasing it for $500,000, and the bank is giving you saying that it's worth 450, right? So it's putting it on the lower end, right? So if it goes on the lower end now, right, your lender will likely decrease the amount you can borrow, right? So the either what would happen in that situation, right? Either the buyer would pay from their pocket, or you can go back and negotiate with the seller or the other realtor, and bring the price down a little, right? And that would matter on your contingency, right? Which we'll go over again. So let's talk about the loan to value real quick, right? So so this is your loan to value, right, ratio. So it's going to be the mortgage amount divided by appraised value amount, right? So let's say you're offering a price, right, for $500,000, and that person is putting 20% down payment, right? It doesn't want to pay their PMI and everything, so they have 20% down payment they want to do, which is $100,000, right? So $500,000 minus that 20%, they're getting the loan for $400,000. So that $400,000 now divided by the value, right, the appraised value for $500,000, that's 80% loan to value, right? But now if they say, it's going to be lower, $20,000 or, $30,000, whatever the case is, this loan amount will decrease and the loan to value will increase. If this increases, maybe they now, if they have more savings in their accounts, they probably want to, use that, still avoid the PMI, or they have to put maybe 15% down now instead of 20%, right? So this loan to value really matters, right? So that's why the bank appraised value really matters, right? So if there's no bank appraisal contingency, the buyer will have to pay out of their pocket, right? If there's a bank appraisal contingency, the realtors can go back and negotiate and lower the price. Okay. So sometimes if it's a $40,000 difference, maybe you guys can meet in halfway, 20 and 20. You know, it really depends on your, if it's a one family, two family, it really depends on the other realtor, the seller, the market, and everything like that, right? There are, just like how we have the no home inspection contingency offers going out, we have the bank appraisal contingency going out too. Meaning they listed a house for $500,000, and your client really likes the property, and and they want to put in an offer for 520, and the bank is saying it's still worth only 500. That's $20,000 the buyer is willing to pay out of their pocket because they really like the property. Okay. So that's pretty much it for your bank appraisal contingencies. Do we recommend it? Yes, for the bank appraisals, definitely. For home inspections, optional, but still do it so they can know what's the issues with the property. Questions on bank appraisals, guys?
Hi, good morning.
Hey, morning.
So regarding bank contingency, who will call for appraisal, buyer or seller? Of course, seller buyer will pay,
Mm-hmm.
but who will call?
Who will call for the bank appraisal?
Yes, sir.
The loan officer. The loan officer is going to schedule it, and
So,
then they will contact the agents, or
all right,
the bank, or the loan officer will order the appraisal, and then the person who's going to come and appraise the property, they're going to call the realtor and say, hey, I want to come in next week at this time, and then you schedule it.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yep. Any other questions, concerns, guys? Jabed, we chose this topic because of you. Is that clear now, or
Yeah,
okay?
um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear.
All right, cool, cool.
I just need to fix a typing error down below.
Where?
Pay out of pocket. Right there. Buyer will have
Lucky,
to
Oh, buyer will
sorry.
what have to pay? Oh, out of pocket. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, Rupinder.
Yeah, so do people do the appraisal before they decide that they want to sell their property? Like when they're planning to do it, do they do the appraisal then too, or like it's after?
Some, you mean the seller now, the right? The owner
Yeah,
that's putting.
the sellers. Sorry, the
Yeah, some
seller.
of them. Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do. Even as a realtor now, I mean, I have paid a lot from our pocket just to get the listing too, that we would do the bank appraisal for them for free and pay, $400, $500 from our pocket, and to tell them, hey, yeah, that's what the banks think. And yeah, but they don't have to, but they do it. Some of
Right.
them do.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. If there's no questions, concerns, you guys can get going.
Thank you.
You're welcome.